Welcome back to Resilience by Faith podcast with Reese. And today we have a very special guest with us. His name is Phillip Mangan. Did I say that right, Phillip?
You got it right.
I got it right. Yay. Okay.
Yeah.
I hate butchering people's name because people butcher my name all the time. So I know how it feels. But Phillip is with us to share his story of resilience. And I'm very happy for his time tonight. So let's welcome Phillip, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me on. Thank you for your time.
Of course, of course. Now, where are you in the United States? Like, where are you calling in from?
Well, today, right now, I'm in Boston. I'm here for a job that I'm doing tomorrow. But I am current home base is Manhattan, New York.
Wow, Manhattan. All your life?
No, actually, I grew up in Florida and I moved to Manhattan in 2016. So I've been there for roughly 6 years. I mean, I left when the pandemic hit,
Right.
taking some breaks. It's the city is a lot sometimes, and you got to get out of there. When you're feeling that you need a change, and that's kind of how I go with my life.
Now, did you move from Florida to Manhattan because you were like, let me try something new? Or like, was it for a job or?
Actually, I was running a business in Florida. I used to run a party bus business. I did that for 6.5 years in Tallahassee, Florida. I went to where I went to school, so I went to Florida State University, and
Yes.
started that company, ran it, and it was just getting a lot with the insurance rates, and I saw that it wasn't going to be much more than what it was. And I mean, I'm proud of what I accomplished there, but I just kind of was very aware that it was time to move on. And New York was a place that I always wanted to move, and I felt like that was the perfect time, and just kind of took a leap of faith and went there, not for anything work wise. I kind of just went there like with an open mind and ready to see where life would take me.
Yes. Now, when you made that leap of faith, did you adjust okay? Like, is Manhattan everything you thought it was going to be? Or how did you feel like
Uh,
moving?
yeah, I mean, it was scary, but I at first it was actually I felt so at home. Like honestly, I was so excited to be there. It felt like a dream was coming true. I was very connected to achieving that goal, like something that you wanted for a long time, and being very aware and grateful for actually it happening. And I actually I used to have a Great Dane. He moved with me to Manhattan, so big dog, and he was kind of my he was my stable base, honestly. He gave me the courage to move there because it wasn't like I was moving alone. I was moving with him, and very, very thankful to have him. Like I had him for the first year up there. He ended up passing away, unfortunately, but I was very, very grateful for him being my, solid base and getting situated there. And yeah, New York still is. It always kind of, even though I take these breaks every now and then, it always it always is like magical when I go back. I feel like I hadn't been there for 3 months up until recently, and I was like, I know I want to be there for fall. I love fall there, and as soon as I got back, I was like, yes, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be right now.
Yes, I love the fall in the city for the fashion for sure. They always say you can dress in the wintertime, but if you can dress in the city, there's no place like New York.
Yeah.
So I grew up in New Jersey in Newark, so
Oh,
like New
nice.
York is just right across the way, and there's nothing like Fashion Avenue, Macy's, like all that downtown.
Yeah.
New York, New York.
Well, I mean, especially for the holiday season, it's just like
Yes,
you get. I mean, I growing up in Florida, you don't have the seasonal change like that, and
right,
you're not feeling the holidays as much as you feel in New York. And I think that's where I was like, I want to go for fall. I want to feel the cold. I want to,
right.
be there and get those, Christmassy vibes or holiday vibes, and yeah, I'm excited to. I'm going back on Wednesday after I do my job tomorrow, and I'll be there until
Awesome.
Thanksgiving, and then I'll come back after Thanksgiving, and I'll be there till Christmas.
Awesome. Awesome. So we got to get into some things, Philip, because you guys are in for a treat, like for sure. I say that with every single guest, but my goodness. So usually I try to be prepared when I bring guests on the show so that you can show at least I put in effort to try to get to learn something about you. But what I found out about Mr. Philip.
I want to know what you found out about me.
So, like, okay, we call you the wellness wingman, yes, but the Bachelor, like, sir, when did all this? You're an actor, model. Wait, like, when did all this start, sir? How we go from the business in Florida to all of this? Like, were you
Uh,
always modeling, acting? Like, you have to let
no,
us in.
yeah, no, no. That was honestly, like I said, when I moved to New York, it was kind of like I was just open, like open, like I mean, when you go to a place like especially new, and I think I had a lot of changes going like happening during that time. There's a lot of self growth going on before I moved. I used to have long hair for like 15 years, like shoulder length long hair. Like I mean, I own a party bus, had long hair. It's kind of like
Yeah,
the classic party guy to a certain extent, and it
yeah,
was kind of it's just a very like powerful thing when you kind of make a change like that, like cut your hair. And I was fearful for a while, I think, of it because you think it just kind of defines you of who you are. And I remember like my hairdresser like telling me like if you can cut your hair, you can do anything. And honestly, I felt that way right afterwards. I just kind of felt like this. I felt like more me,
yes,
and I think that was a good start to before the move to going to New York because I went there with like just a greater sense of confidence in who I was, and then I just do believe things happen, exactly on the right, like on time, like,
yes,
and it's amazing when you rewind things and see how it goes. But long story short, I kind of when I moved to New York, I met like a friend of a friend who was also moving to New York at the same time. She happened to be like a fashion photographer, and I heard for years people were telling me, I mean, maybe it was the long hair, but like, you should model. And I was just like, okay, make me a model. Like, I have no clue about this,
yes,
stuff. But like the fact that I was going to New York, I was like, well, this, this woman's a photographer. Let me maybe have her take some photos of me and my dog. This would be really cool. And I ended up doing a photo shoot, and she's a really talented photographer, and I ended up getting really good like photographs, and
right,
kind of just saw like maybe a potential that could be there, like something. And I enjoyed it. That's the thing is I enjoyed it, and it was making me see the city. I was doing more shoots after that, and then I just kind of just each shoot I did, I just kind of felt more. And this is to build up my book. I'm not even a model at this point. I'm just trying to see where this takes me. And each shoot that I did, it just started giving me this like greater confidence, and I felt very connected to it. And then it just became the goal. Like, hey, I wanna become a signed model, and ended up building up my book in like a 4-month period. Had no clue what I was doing. No one was teaching me or anything like that. And then I just started walking into agencies and trying to hustle my way in, and somehow. And I always tell this like story kind of to let you know what it takes sometimes. And I think people always uh, I guess like what if they're wondering like what separates someone from achieving their goal and someone from not achieving their goal, it's really uh, just doing by any means necessary. Like I was looking up people that worked in these agencies off LinkedIn, and then I would go to the
yes,
building that they were in, and I'd name drop them like, hey, I have a meeting with this person, and then I would get up into the floor, and I would just be like, oh, like I find myself in the middle of this position, like, oh, I got myself an actual meeting, kind of. I kind of got my way in, and I somehow would meet people that I would have never met before if I didn't put myself out there and kind of act fearlessly. And I think each time I kind of acted more fearlessly, and I wouldn't just take a no and
right,
just be like, satisfied with that and just kept going. It just kind of builded up my resilience. And I ended up getting signed by an agency. And then I kind of used my business mentality from my previous business of saying like, oh well, I'm going to use this going into the modeling industry and treat it like a business. And I ended up getting two agencies instead of one. And then I started branching out and just getting more. And I ended up having like seven in the city. And then I got ones in like Philadelphia, Boston, Chicago, Miami. So it really was to me like, oh, this knowledge that I had in the previous, business has really helped me apply it. And also, not only that, it made me really grateful for the work that I'm doing because to be honest, like, I'm running a party bus business. There's drunk college kids on it, and people are, destroying the bus, and I'm cleaning up like whatever, throw up or whatever on the bus one day, and then I go to the modeling industry, and someone wants to pay me for pictures, and I'm like, wait, someone wants to do that,
Wow.
you know.
A real difference.
So it I'm very in tune that this is. mm, I'm very lucky to be in this position, but I don't think a lot of people understand sometimes that no one found me. I always say this: no one discovered me. I had to let them see me. I had to get in there to let them see me. I had to like lead them to me, and that's what I think is a lot of people out there could be, uh, you know, if they really want to be. I think a lot of people could be models, but also could be achieving their goals in certain ways. But you have to kind of put yourself in a position to achieve it and act in a way that is that you really want it. Like if you want something, you know align to that want and go after it. And I think that's why like I it led me to the health coaching and in switches. I really feel like it's more life coaching because it's really teaching people how to kind of align to their goals and you know do take the necessary steps to achieving them.
Yes, and that's what I was going to ask next. Like, we're thankful for your boldness and everything that you went through to be where you are today. But I'm just wondering, like, where does your faith fall into everything? Because I would think definitely, like, no matter what or who you believe in, you got to have somebody in to kind of push you and give you that peace. Like, okay, I got a little anxiety. I'm a little nervous. I don't know how this is going to pan out, but
Hmm.
Imma do it anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, how did your faith come into play with your resilience? And, like, how was it kinda seeing you grow and, like, your faith kinda unfold through that journey from party bus to, like, we're up here doing big things in a big city that
Hmm.
never sleeps?
No, no, yeah, no, no. Honestly, the way like what I told you about like moving to New York and really feeling grateful for like allowing my you know having my dream come true to be
Right.
finally living there. It made me start going back to church. I grew up Catholic, and I used to be an altar boy. I was actually an altar boy throughout like from like middle school throughout all of high school. Like I was
Yeah.
one of those like 17-year-old altar boys because I was always thinking like I'd rather be part of the show than watching the show sometimes because I feel like more connected when I'm part of it, and when I went to college, I kind of lost that a little bit. Just like I said, kind of got into like the party scene a bit more, and then the more I kind of stepped away from the alcohol and the partying and stuff like that, and more into the self growth. It kind of led me back to God and having a relationship, especially when I got to New York, and that was like one thing I always look forward to. Is just like really, I didn't really know how it was going to look my faith, but it was just like I just knew that I felt like a lot of peace going into that environment, especially beautiful churches in New York. And from there, it just only has grown. I think it's just a lot of like, especially in the industry that I'm in, is with the modeling and stuff like that. Sometimes you just really don't know when the next job is coming, and you gotta really kind of have that patience and you had to have that trust. And where's that trust coming? That trust comes from is like really continuing to align to the faith. It's just kind of, whether it's praying like every day that I pray every day, but always constantly kind of going back to church when I need to. It's really the thing that has held me together and helped me grow a lot actually over the years, which I'm really thankful for reconnecting with. And I'm always kind of looking, when in the morning, I always kind of one thing I always say, it's like I pray for peace with where I'm at right now, and patience for wherever I'm trying to go.
Uh-huh.
And it's like one of those things. It's like when you actually get a another job, like, say you have a little lull of like not having a job for like 2 months, and you can be in this like pit of like kind of just feeling a little lost, and you get another job, and it's like wow, like it's a very powerful feeling because you just like see, you know you just have to be patient, you just have to
Right.
trust you will be okay.
Right.
And you have to, and sometimes it's good to have that experience because it really aligns, and helps you grow your faith more. So it's been an interesting kind of like process for me too, and I'm very like uh just always kind of looking in and journaling, and I'm always like kind of journaling these moments because I think they're very powerful in kind of helping me continue in the growth journey.
Yes, that kind of reminds me of something I watched Pastor Torre say. I don't know if you're familiar with Pastor Torre and Sarah Jakes and TD Jakes and them, but he said something about building an altar where God speaks to you, or where He answers your prayers. And I look at journaling that way so that you can never forget what God has done for you. Kind of like the same thing of writing down your prayers, and then you go back like
Mhm.
maybe months or years later and you look back and you're like, God answered this prayer, God answered that prayer.
Mm.
It just kind of strengthens that faith that you already have. Just add on to it to show that He is listening.
Mhm.
He does see me struggling down here, but He helps when it's on His time.
Yeah, 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 and that's just a beautiful thing. I think it's like, it if there's one thing that I've come to learn, it's like he's always on time. It doesn't work out any better. Like honestly, it's just and that's why I say it's just a patience. It's really like if I had to say like one thing that I've learned, most, and how to like try to get stronger with is my patience, because I think that's especially in a world that we live in today, it's really a lot of people lack patience. Everything is instant gratification, and especially even with like making changes to life, with if they want to lose weight or anything with the health or wellness, or even in just in general, it's you want it now. Um
Yes,
and but the funny thing is, I always say is like, if someone asked me this actually earlier this year, and they said, what makes you happiest in life? And I said, the
the
process. And it's
process.
like, because that's where the patient you have to have patience, because like, I've done triathlons, and you can't just train for a triathlon in one day. You gotta spend months training for it, and it's like it's in you, but you see the growth. So it's like the growth process. It's like some days maybe you're not growing, some days you're going backwards, but it's like the resilience that you gain, and then you keep going forward, and you start seeing the little
Yes.
motions. That's where the confidence. So it's really the confidence comes through action, and trust.
Yeah. Yes, and you mentioned like when we want to lose weight, and I have a lot of female listeners. And this will
Mhm.
forever be the biggest thing, and the biggest problem is the stomach area, or like
Mhm.
losing weight or getting discouraged. I think social media is a very dangerous place for comparison, and
I do
like
too.
being frustrated with yourself and talking about that instant gratification. Like what made you get into wellness piece, and is specifically helping women lose weight and get their confidence back?
Okay. Well, I I understood, like, when I got my personal training certification, it was just because I've been, an active person for years, always interested in wellness, nutrition. Mainly, I was always big into really nutrition more so than anything, because I know how much of an important part it, plays in like your overall look. And
Right.
when I decided to kind of create my own coaching thing, I was thinking like, most people, they I don't want to teach people how to do exercises, because that's not really what's going
Yeah.
to help someone change. Or I'm not going to teach someone exactly, this is a diet plan, this is exactly how you should eat it. I'm more in, I know what actually achieves results, and it's actually, how do you keep consistently doing those exercises? How do you keep showing up to continue to eat this way? So
Right.
I was really more concerned with the mental aspect of everything. And when I was actually looking to, my target audience, at first is actually men, to be honest, because I felt like, if anything, one of the things that I offer, I think that I am very strong in, is my emotional intelligence. And I think the stronger I've gotten into connection with my emotions, I've realized that, we're not really, men haven't been really set up to have that connection to their emotions. And I was thinking, yeah, wow, I really want to kind of share this and help men change in a greater way if I can. But the thing is, I realized that the the men probably weren't going to listen to me right off the bat, and I thought maybe the women would actually be more of like, because they, if I understand myself pretty well, I can probably,
Yeah.
and I have a lot of female friends, and it's like I can
Right.
really, I honestly, I stronger relationships with them, and it kind of really instantly drew me into, hey, well, maybe if I market myself to women and kind of utilize that aspect, maybe the men will follow. Their husbands, their family, their friends. So that was kind of really where the women came from. But I mean, it's really kind of open to anyone. It's just really like, I think. I've been able to kind of create this environment where women are very, it's like a safe space where I'm just giving them an open ear and an understanding ear. And I enjoy actually working with women a lot, just because I think that they're already at the level of, the communication that I think is needed to make the changes. It's just about then kind of understanding that, and then going from there and taking that information and helping guide them to the place they want to be.
Right. So you like when you train someone or when you coach someone, is it more so like, of course, the communication piece, but like Noom, like there's an app called Noom that works on the psychology of it. So is it more like that? Every program is tailored to the person, or is it just more so?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's more tailored to the person, because I do believe everyone is different, and I do believe that everyone kind of, it's not only that our bodies are different, are different, you know, in different aspects of your life are, some people have families, some people work this schedule. So I really kind of go and I say, hey, well, what is your sleep schedule like? What does your downtime look like? What does your friends life look like? Your social life. I kind of break down every single aspect of your life, and then we formulate a plan based on that stuff. So it's not like, that's why, like, I know I can be, to be honest, I know I could probably be maybe more successful if I just gave a custom plan, one plan, and just said, "Hey, why don't everyone follow it? This is what works for me." But I don't think that's gonna help people, and I'd actually, me success to me is actually helping people and seeing the results. It's not how much money I make.
Yes.
So when I work with people, it's really like, your goal, it's my goal, it's my goal, and that's kind of really the relationship I form with someone, is like, let's dive deep, and
Right.
that's what it takes. Everyone has a different goal. Everyone has different things that they're fighting off from their past or dealing with in their present, and we do a deep dive, and it takes time, and again,
Yes.
goes to the patients.
Yes, and that makes me think about what I get to do.
Hmm.
When I work with patients, I work with psychiatry and substance abuse. And my hardest patients that I think that have affected me the most is my PTSD patients and my substance abuse patients, because I can relate, but I try not to get too caught up in it because I have to have that boundary. But just listening to them, that's the most
Hmm.
thing that I do all day. And I feel like it's the most important thing. Like I just had a patient today and she was like, I kept telling him I wasn't getting better. The medication wasn't working. And I'm so happy I got a chance to meet you guys. And I'm so happy we're on the right track. And I told her today. So you almost repeated what I said
Hmm.
by verbatim. You said, your goal is my goal. And I'm just
Hmm.
like, long as we can get you sleeping better, as long as we can help that depression go away, that makes me happy.
Mhm.
I'm in my bed sleeping good at night. You deserve to be in your bed sleeping good at night.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
that made me happy.
Good, good. No, good. No, I get you. I mean, it just it's a good feeling when you help someone, like, especially if, you know, maybe maybe we're not all like where we want to be right now, but
Right,
we've gotten this far, so why can't help someone get to where you're at right now? And I think
right.
it's a great thing to be able to be assistance to someone that is where at some point you were, and now,
Yes.
in some sort of way, and now we're here.
Now we're here. So I guess with that, I have to ask, like, if somebody's out here listening and they're just like, okay, maybe I need to change something about myself, but I don't know what, or I don't know where to start, or I don't know what to read, or I don't know where to go. Like, what advice would you give someone? The courage or your confidence? Like, where should somebody start if they have a great idea, or if they want to do something similar to what you did? How could they step out on faith, or how could they step out the box courageously?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really getting emotionally connected to what you want, and I think that that's the one thing that I think will always continue to drive you, is when you can connect to it on a more emotional level. I've in a spiritual level as well. I think when we just kind of see these different things like on Instagram or like other social media outlets, and obviously in just everywhere, news, etc. And we
Right.
think like, hey, we want these things, or that would be a nice goal, and we kind of want these, but I don't know if we really want them. I don't know if everyone just really wants them because it's, we're just seeing them and society's kind of telling this is how we will receive love, or do you really align to it? Do you really connect to it on a deeper level? And the way that I've able to connect to it on a deeper level is um, obviously going to church and getting to quiet places, whether it's prayer, meditation, journaling. I think we don't take enough quiet time. That's like one of the things that I always tell people, like,
Yes.
how can you sift through all the noise if you don't turn the noise off and listen to yourself? Because to be honest, I think, we're always saying like we want clarity. Well, how can I don't think we need to be like, we're not getting clarity by looking at other things, like,
No.
where we have the answers, they're inside us. We just got to unlock them, and
Right.
we're not taking the time to do that. And I think when you take time for yourself consistently, not just like once. You ask yourself these tough questions and kind of like ask yourself, why do I want this? And, do I, just different things that are going to kind of like make you feel uncomfortable, to be honest. And it's not going to feel nice at first, but it's going to lead to somewhere the more you do it. You can't, again, it goes back to patience as well. Like, you can't just sit still for, and pray once and feel like you can, have more gratitude and all these different things. It's the habits that kind of form it, but it's starting something with, starting a simple habit, like, as in maybe taking 10 minutes a day to journal, or sit in silence and actually quiet the noise and just slow down.
Yes.
We're just moving at a lot of a lot faster than we need to often, because we think there's not enough time, but that's really, at the same time, that's not channeling abundance. And we all have the ability to be abundant. And I mean, we're alive. We are abundant if we're alive right now. So I would highly suggest, if anyone has some sort of goal they have in mind, I would take some time and kind of really connect with it on a deeper level. Even if it's, say, like, I could say, you want to lose weight. Why do you want to lose weight? um, Oh, I want to look good. Well, for me, sometimes I don't think that's going to be enough. That, is it going to really make you happy at the end, just when you look good, but you still maybe are not, having
Yes.
these things that are resolved on the inside. I think when you can kind of go deeper and say, I want to lose weight, and because it's going to make me healthier. It's going to make me live
Yeah.
longer. I want to be around for my kids. I want to be able to do these things, with ease and feel good.
Right.
I think those are like a different way to look at it. And
Yes.
I think those will carry you a lot further than, just saying, I want to look good. Because I mean, hey, look, to be honest, I'm a model. I get paid to look good at times, but just that doesn't just by looking good doesn't make me like feel like that I'm better or whatever. I do the inner work. Just because I look like good and healthy on the outside is only that's it. That's just the shell. Like if there's not this, it's like you gotta have the stuff right within, and in order to really to live a fulfilling life, in my opinion, a happy, fulfilling, life, and I think that's what we're all trying to get. It's a happy, fulfilling life, and um, I just suggest just more time, quiet time, to be honest.
Yes, and Philip is in here dropping gems, y'all. Really, that is for sure. You can apply that to everything in life, and especially dating. I would have to have you back on the show if we're
I
going to talk about that
Oh, hey,
because
I'm happy to talk about dating. I haven't been in just to give you a little brief summary. I haven't been in a long term relationship for 7 years, and it was every single time I've entered the dating scene a little bit. It always seems to lead back to more self growth and just kind of
Mhm.
very clear on what I want.
Right.
I'm very in tune to myself, and I think at the end of the day, a lot of people get into relationships not being that self-aware, and then they end up settling because they don't want to be alone. And then later on, yeah, and again, it goes to patience. It's like, so if I said, "Oh man, I haven't dated in a while. Like, I really want to be with someone. I really want a partner. I do. I would love to have a wife and kids, but do I want the wrong person and that is going to cause problems just because I'm lacking patience? Does that lead me in the wrong direction? So then it goes back to having patience again and having faith that the right person will be there and you'll meet them. So I think that that's something that a lot of people need to kind of maybe look at is do I really want to be like, is this the right person, or is this the right person be like right enough person? Like, is that just because I don't want to be in this other area?
Yes, having that self awareness to ask yourself those questions because honestly, I feel like a lot of divorce and a lot of hardship and turmoil and heartache come from not being patient and instant gratification again, like
Mhm.
social media, relationship goals, and I want to be married. And then people forget married, like your wedding day is literally one day. Because after that's over, you're stuck with that person that you
Mhm.
chose to be with and nobody else will be there. It should just be you and them.
I,
And then they figure, oh, well, maybe we don't get along.
yeah,
Or I didn't know that about you. And then I want a divorce. And I'm just like, well, what?
yeah, no, no, I totally, I feel you on that. I mean, it's like, I mean, I say this all the time. It's like, I don't need someone that's gonna complete me. I just want someone that's gonna like challenge me and make me better, and then we can grow together. Like we come in, we each are very self aware, and we know that we're entering a partnership that we're just enhancing each other's life. We're not completing each other's life, so I think you can complete yourself with relationship with God, your relationship, the way you carry yourself, and you focus on the things in your life and your integrity and how you just present yourself. Are you a compassionate person? Are you a generous person? Like, I think the more you do these things, the more you do feel more whole. You don't feel like you
Right.
you don't feel like you lack, and I feel like that's probably where I've left such a long gap in my relationships. Come because I have always said, like, when you get to a certain point, you don't really think you're missing out on anything. I mean, me personally, I'm starting to get back into the dating again just because I know that in order to get a relationship, usually you gotta give some time to it. So
Yes.
so 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 like, it's always good to look at your priorities and what you want, and are you
Yes.
putting, like, so for me, like, maybe some people out there, they want to lose weight. So there, are you making that a priority in your life? Are you making Do I want a relationship? Am I making that a priority in my life? Well, that means maybe some energy and time will lack with other things, but this is if this is what I really want, I'm going to go on more dates and I'm going to give this more attention. And that's kind of like where I'm at right now. It's like, hey, that's just something that you can't even look at it like it's work either, because it's not work. It's just like
Yes.
it's just an interaction, a meeting, and it can be exciting, and it's gonna have a lot of, and then you'll learn things either way. I think we're always learning if you're open.
We're always learning. If you're not learning,
Mhm.
then they used to say you done died. You're not living if you're not learning. So for sure.
Well,
Definitely. I
yeah,
think one
and
lady
you're
on
not.
TikTok said, huh?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I was like, also, you're not learning if you're not trying, because I think if you're not trying, if you're not trying, you're not like pushing yourself to learn anything, because you're gonna, when you try, there's a chance of failure, and it's a good chance of failure, and that's really that's how you learn.
Yes, and people forget that and they're just like, "Oh, I failed. I'm hurt. I'm never doing this again." So, I
Hmm.
thank you for saying that. And that's where the resilience comes in.
Oh yeah, I mean, I trust me, it's a keep trying, and trying new things. I think that's really where the beauty of life comes from, is putting yourself in the discomfort to a good extent. Not necessarily doing something if you don't really align to it fully, but I'd say, like, if you're interested in something, like, how do you know you don't like something if you don't try?
If you didn't try it.
And I
Yeah.
and I experienced that this year. I tried to learn how to uh, do coding. I was taking a I did a software engineering boot camp, and I did it for well, I was self-teaching myself, like, for the first couple of months, and then I decided to do a coding boot camp. Did the first 4 weeks of it, and it was the toughest thing I ever did. And I really emotionally connected to that challenge. It was like,
Yes.
I'm doing this for my future wife and kids because I want to provide for them, like, and I'm like in it, in it, in it. And long story short, I had a little break, like a month and a half break between the second part of the course,
Uh-huh.
and it goes back to, is that, am I really just doing it more so for the challenge, or am I doing it because I love this or I'm passionate about it? And
Yeah.
it came back just because I was doing it because it was more of a clear path to me. So it was an even though it was really hard, it was a clear path because I could see the route. If I'm trying to build my own thing, if I'm trying to build up my coaching more, there's not really a clear route. It's or if I'm trying to build up my modeling more, there's no clear route. So it just becomes kind of like, oh, like, that's really hard because I can't see it clearly, but I can see this clearly. But just because I can see that clearly, and I can't see that, and
Mhm.
this doing this, but I don't feel passionate about it. That's, in my opinion, settling, because
Yes.
it's not right, but it's also not. It's also, to wind everything up, it's not going to keep me pushing forward at that goal eventually. Like, yeah, maybe it will get me that far, but then
Right.
if the passion's not there, the connection's not there, it will either lead me to a dead end, and
Right.
I'll just be right back onto the path that where I started. So I think it's good to know when you try things. I don't look at it as a complete failure, but
Mhm.
I look at it as like, wow, I learned that this isn't right. And I was very aware of that at this point. And I don't feel bad about the time I wasted or this and that. It's just kind of like, I understood that I can't do things just for money and for that. I have to do something because I really am passionate about
Yes, yes, that is key.
it.
That is key. Well, Philip, please tell the audience where they can connect with you because I'm definitely going to try to get in touch with you after the holidays and definitely try to see if we can schedule another time to have you back on the show. Because if we're going to dig deeper and get into some things with dating and mindset and emotional intelligence or wherever it leads us, I would love to have you back
Oh
on the
yeah,
show.
I would love to come back for another round. So, but in the meantime, people can follow me on Instagram if they want to go on there. I mean, I don't post as much, but you can get a lot of gems on there that are already on there. It's at Phillip Anthony Mangan. But my website, philipmangan.com, PHI1LIP, Mangan, MANGAN.com. That's like how you can book a free coaching consultation. Doesn't charge you anything. We can do a Zoom call. It doesn't we could do a phone call, whatever you're comfortable with. Just even and no harm done. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But the thing is, like, just doesn't hurt to try. Doesn't hurt to connect, and I will be an open ear to to listen to whatever you want and try to help give you some tips while I'm on the phone with you in any way that I can. But yeah, it just you just Google my name.
Oh Lord, if you do that, guys, you might be blown away like I was. Don't do it. Okay,
Oh,
no.
you're too kind. No, I that's funny. Thank you,
He's so sweet and so humble. So sweet.
thank
Like
you.
we got to have Philip. Y'all, please, please thank you, Philip. Thank you so much
Oh,
for
thank you.
coming on tonight. And thank you for spending your time with us. And thank you for dropping all of your gems because there's somebody out there who needed to hear what you said tonight. And I'm pretty sure they appreciate it just as much as I do. So
No,
thank you.
thank you, thank you for your time and energy, and yeah, I look forward to coming back on.
Of course. Well, guys, I will leave you with that. I know we went a little bit over, but that's cool. We let it flow here. I will see you on our next episode. And remember, stay safe out there, and we will connect another time. Bye, guys.